All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to get kicked off with trends week one. This is the second session, so this is week one, session number 2 overall. And I have a screen I'm going to be sharing, and we'll talk through things. We're going to go back and forth a little bit between the screen as well as what you're seeing on the screen, and then also some activity that I'm going to ask you to do in the chat. So just to kick things off, welcome back, everybody. If you did trends in the past, we're back. For some of you, this might be your first session. That's okay. Trends is technical research enrichment for navigating data science. If you don't know what all of that means, don't worry about it. Your parents know that you need to be in this study session. You need to be in this mini camp. You need to be in this class. And we'll talk more about what all of that means, but welcome. My name is Dr. Tony Arnold McFarland, and in a few minutes, we'll just kind of let everybody see the whole team. And this is a part of several activities taking place that are a part of the fall 2023 STEM activation series for the Research Triangle professionals and the Research Triangle proteges. The proteges is the NSB Junior chapter, and I'll say more about that in a minute. But in addition to the T.R.E.N.D.S Data Club, which is for grades 6 through 12, and I know some of you may be a little younger than that, that's fine. We're glad to have you because I know I've talked to your parents and I know you've already got some exposure. So welcome. We also have K through 12 tutoring taking place. Next week, we will only do it on Wednesday. Only on Wednesday next week. It's at this same link, the same Zoom link, and it will be at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on Central Time, that's 5 o'clock for you. And then if you are in grades 9 through 12, we haven't kicked this off yet, but the Matriculators is a college readiness mentoring group. If you're interested in that, let your parents know, reach out to me. My information is at the bottom of the screen. They also have it. And what we'll be doing is focusing on just everything that's important for you to do in getting ready for college. And you need to start that in the 9th grade. You actually should start it in the 8th grade, but by 9th grade, it should be kicking off. All right. So welcome. If you don't mind, just put in the chat, how did you find out about trends? Put that in the chat. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Put how you found out about trends and what city you live in. Put that in the chat, and we're glad to meet you. And this is the full team. Some people are actually here today. Some have been just working in the background. Some are not here today and will join us at other sessions, but you'll get to know us more individually as we work through the activities over the next few weeks. And we have a group here on the left, individuals who are already working in their professions as business users or as data scientists, analysts, business analysts, different data roles in their careers. And then on the right, we have individuals. I think I need to add a couple of names here. I'm missing. I believe I saw John. I need to add John over here to the right. These are future, very near future engineers, scientists, and technologists. They are supporting us as well. All right. And as mentioned, when you first logged on, hopefully you are already taking the survey. If you've not taken it, that's in the chat. And Taylor, as people join, if people are joining, they won't be able to see the chat. So if you don't mind, reach out to them and send them that link as we do the overview, because we want to make sure we collect data from you. This is a data club, and I'm asking for data already. I want to know how you heard about it. And then later on, you're going to be telling me, you'll be able to tell me what kind of data that is. I also want to know what city you live in. You'll be able to tell me what kind of data that is. So we want to collect information from you so we can make sure we understand what you already understand and what you already know, and we can make changes to how we proceed in teaching if needed. All right, so the National Society of Black Engineers is the organization that we are a part of. The mission is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. And as I mentioned earlier, Research Triangle Proteges, also known as RTP-NSB Jr., we are I would say, a child of RTP-NSB. And our chapter started in October of 2019. So we're still fairly young. And if you are a member of RTP-NSB Jr., we're in Region 2, the Comfort Zone, and this is a pre-college initiative of the professional chapter. So quite a few of us on the call are members of our local chapter, RTP-NSB, which is the professionals, the adults, or you may be in a college chapter, or you may not be in any chapter. Welcome as well. And we'll tell you how you can join. So what is NSB? We say NSB, that's the I guess affectionately known as NSB, the name. It's one of the largest student government organizations based in the United States. There are about 600 plus chapters, maybe it's more than it now, about 24,000 active members globally, and it was founded in 1975 at Purdue University for the purpose of building a diverse talent pipeline, specifically for underrepresented Black engineers. And you don't have to be an engineer to be in this, but you can be a scientist, you can be a technologist, a mathematician, or maybe it's not STEM related. I know I have colleagues who are in NSB that are not in a STEM field, but they work with NSB professionals or STEM professionals. Some are instructors, some are teachers, some are educators. So it's a community that is all coming together around the mission. And the pipeline of NSB, we are in the K through 12 NSB juniors. You see there on the left. That kind of breaks out what we focus on in our chapter. And at the college level, what you're able to gain, job placement, you give back. Some of you on the call are in colleges, so thank you for giving back. And professionals, we give back to the entire pipeline. We also have to work on developing our careers and making sure that our incoming professionals are ready for a career path. And we also have to stay relevant. And in addition to all of this, we have to impact the society. Like there's so many complex problems that need STEM professionals. So we are signing up to help lead the way to the future. If you're interested in joining us, if you are in, or everybody here is going to be grades 6 through 12, you will be paying national and local dues. That's $12. If you have younger brothers, sisters, cousins, K through the second grade, they don't have to pay national dues. They only pay local dues because they're not technically a member until they're in the third grade. But our local chapter does accept them to participate in activities. And we are primarily a virtual chapter because we have members in multiple states. We are a community chapter. Quite a few NSB junior chapters are connected to schools. We are connected to RTP, Research Triangle area, Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill. And our chapter does competitions, challenges. We've done research projects, expos, and we have customized activities like this. But what you will primarily get out of being a member is STEM enrichment, scholastic, creative, and cultural intellect, leadership, and character building. And our members, we want to make sure they are excelling academically, that they are culturally intellectual, meaning that they know about Black inventors, female inventors, and know about different inventors who are Hispanic, Asian, like they know the spectrum, and they have a sense of where they want to go in life. All right, so here is the agenda. I've already kind of gotten us going with some opening remarks, and hopefully everybody feels welcomed. Shared about the camp. We're going to have an icebreaker. Then I'm going to come back and do a little bit of a review of session 1 in case you missed that. And then we'll go through the agenda as outlined. We'll get hands-on in some of the activities for the day. We'll take a break, come back and finish up, and then we'll close out. And as I mentioned, TREND stands for Technical Research Enrichment for Navigating Data Science. Some of the objectives of TRENDS, I won't go through all of this. I'm recording this so your parents will be able to follow along. But just mainly, we want our participants to be acclimated with where data resides in the world and life around them. We want them to have curiosity and basic ability to explore it responsibly and ethnically with a data-driven mindset. I'm sorry, ethically, not ethnically. Well, I guess both of them, but ethically, do it responsibly. Use it for positive outcome. So, just a few housekeeping things. How do you navigate? If you need information about trends, you can go to this same site where your parents signed up. And in this site, I'm updating it constantly with the schedule and any information needs. So this is kind of a landing site for us for the camp. How you communicate will get you assigned to Google Chats with your instructors once we have a better list and confirmed list of who's participating. The Google Calendar is already out there. I have shared that with your parents. I will continue to make sure they have access to it. Some people don't use Google Calendar. They would prefer an email. So I'm communicating the dates to them. And we may use Google Classroom. We've used that in the past, and Gmail. Now, if you are a middle schooler, I'm not able to add you to our distribution list, but we can email you. If you have your own email, we can email you separately. General questions, if you have general questions, and I will send this to you so you don't have to take notes, but you'll get this. You can send that to trends@nsbertp.org, and parents can email me directly with questions that they have. They already have my contact information. And if you have questions that are related to what's in the activities or class per se, you can send those to the chat for your instructors to respond to you via Google Chat. All right. So what's our schedule? We've already completed the first session. That was Tuesday. We're going to do a little bit of a review of that if you missed it. Today, we plan to wrap up about 1:30, maybe a little earlier. We will take a break or two as needed. And Monday is going to be your next session after today. So Monday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Monday kicks off week 2. There will not be a session on Tuesday or Wednesday. And there will be one next Saturday at the same time at 11 o'clock. You'll continue studying Python. All right. And like I said, you'll get this. Your parents will have it. They already have it. It has all of the dates. If you miss dates, we're recording the sessions. You can go back and listen to them. And also, you can come to the ACE tutoring session, which is on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 6, and get caught up as well. Next week, we will only do ACE on Wednesday. All right. What do you need to be successful? A personal computer, tablet device, preferably a personal computer. And if you have not already, as a matter of fact, we should probably just kind of get a little gauge of that too. For those of you on the call, please go ahead and put in the chat what type of device you're using. Is it a laptop? Is it a Apple product? Okay. Is it a Chromebook? So are you using a laptop? Are you using a Mac? Are you using a Chromebook? And it could be a tablet that's one of those. It's Windows based, or maybe it's Android based, or it is Apple based. And if you don't know, just say, I don't know what I'm using. So put that in the chat. Okay. You will also need a stable Wi-Fi connection, a quiet place, reasonably quiet, and headsets. If you don't have a place that's quiet enough for you, just put some headphones on and listen. And Excel or Google Sheets, we'll be using that today. W3 Schools is a website. We'll show you how to get to that. And any books that are needed will provide either electronically or mail those to you. And some of you may already have them. And that was my hands-on access and tangible. So tangible means it's touchable with your hands. Non-tangible, what kind of character traits do you need? You need to be focused. You need to be willing to learn, and you need a positive attitude. If you have everything on this screen, you'll be successful. And I want to thank Collins Aerospace for providing us with a grant for this mini camp. And one of our advisors, our lead instructors, John Winstead, is on the phone. He's on the Zoom today, and I want to personally thank him and his company for providing us with a grant for this camp. And at some point, we're going to have some employees from there come and speak with us about what they do, and we can ask them questions on how they collect and analyze and utilize data. All right. I'm going to pause real quick to see if there are any questions, and I'm going to do a time check. Any questions from anyone? Okay. If not, I'm going to keep going. And if you have questions, put those in the chat. We'll watch the chat. At this time, I'm going to let Kaylin share her screen, and she's going to do an icebreaker for us. It's on you, Kaylin.
Yes, ma'am. Let me share my screen. All right, can you guys see it?
Yes, we see it. And
Okay.
Kaylin, do we need breakout rooms?
No, ma'am. I think we'll be okay if we do it.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. So good morning, everyone. I'm Kaylin Coleman. I'm a college senior, and I'm doing your data science icebreaker today. So before we get into the icebreaker, I do want to go into what qualitative and quantitative data is. Just to review. So a way that I like to remember what quantitative and qualitative data is qualitative data is more of like quality. So it's not really like a quantity type data. So I just take a piece of the word to help me remember because the words are very similar. So just to help, qualitative data is an interpretation-based descriptive and relating to language and words. It can help us understand why, how, or what happened behind certain behaviors or a category base. And then quantitative data is like your numbers, countable, uncountable, or measurable numbers, and tells us how many, how much, or how often. So qualitative and quantitative data, the icebreaker, I kind of titled it wrong. But the first thing I want y'all to do is find something in your house that represents your favorite memory. Find something in your house that you think is funny. And then find something in your house that you think is unique. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. If you need more time, just let me know. And you guys can start now. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know.
And Taylor, when they get back, do they need to show something on the screen or?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It would be really nice if y'all could turn on your cameras to make you feel more comfortable. I'll turn on my camera too. And
Yep.
we can, somebody can volunteer. I can choose a person to show like what's their favorite memory, what's they found in their house that's funny or unique. Since we're, not on a time restraint, but just do one of them so each person can share.
Great. All right, time is gone. And Kaylin, what I can do is play a song. When this song is over, it should be about time for them to share their screen.
Okay.
Hey,
Yes,
Dr. Tony, why, as an interlude, can you play that jazz music you had the other night? That was pretty cool. I don't know what website you got it from.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Okay. All right, Kaylin, do we have people ready to share what they found already?
Yes, ma'am. I don't see anybody that's responded yes, but I'll turn on my camera just so you can see me. Okay.
Awesome.
Is anybody ready to go ahead and share what they found? It can be one of the three things that you found, just so everybody can get a turn.
And if you need a little bit more time, let us know.
Mhm.
I can go ahead and show mine.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Nana.
All right. Can y'all see me?
Yes.
Can't really see
It's
the photo, but it's a portrait of me and my family when we went to Las Vegas. And it's just one of my favorite memories because it's a vacation we went to, and we went to see the Grand Canyon, and it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's
Great.
awesome. All right. Would anybody like to go next?
What was everybody on the call doing this, or were we focusing more so on like the students?
The students.
Oh, I got you. I was like, I had went and found something just in case.
Go ahead, Tim. Share it.
Yes.
Alrighty, hold on, let me cut on my camera.
Okay.
Can y'all see me?
Yes.
Cool, cool. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Can y'all see the thing on the screen?
Yes.
Greatest
Alright.
homecoming on earth.
Yeah, I had got this pin about 2 years back, and it reminded me of my first homecoming as a freshman in undergrad. So I was, and homecoming's coming up as well. So that's like
Awesome.
one of my best memories.
And Tim, you might have to provide some context for that. Everybody may not know.
I'm
what that
sorry.
means.
I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Timothy Bass. I'm a first year graduate student here. On the call today, I am studying data science and engineering at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And homecoming, or like my fellow alums have said, GHO is a once every year. All Aggies and Aggie alums come out and enjoy our time being students and graduates. And yeah, it's definitely the place to be around this time of year. Homecoming is happening next weekend well, technically it already started, but for alums like me, it will be next weekend from the 3rd to the 5th. So if you are free, definitely come out, be safe, have fun. And yeah.
And also, just to add on to that, the North Carolina A&T Nesby chapter leads our tutoring for ACE, and they will not be available. So that's why we're really going to do it on Wednesday. Professionals are going to come out. So anybody who's not going to be part of homecoming, professionals on the call, we'd love to have you come out on Wednesday at 6 o'clock to support our students with ACE tutoring in math, science, and in all subjects. Okay.
So, would anybody else like to go?
We might need a little nudging. Let me see here. Maybe some prizes will help people cut their cameras on. Anybody want to share what they have? And thank you,
Jonathan and
Hanana.
Sage should be ready. Jonathan and Sage should be ready. I saw them running around the house.
All right.
Hello, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, so my thing that was special, it's this Lakers jersey that I got.
Oh, that is really nice. Okay. Y'all making me want to participate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm typing these in the chat. So we'll have this data collected. Who wants to go next?
I can share mine.
Okay, Afua. Thank you, Afua.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I got this like souvenir that we got from like our summer trip when we went to Rome. And
Ooh,
yeah.
that's nice.
So cool.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask Taylor, are you able to just kind of get a little spreadsheet together what I'm putting in the chat, or maybe just kind of collecting because we might need to do something with this data?
Yeah, I can collect it. Yes.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Mine is my workbook from second grade.
Okay. Good, Sage. Jaya, you want to go next? You there, Jaya?
Yes, ma'am. I just haven't found nothing.
Okay, well, look, you need more time? Keep looking. Go if your mom's there, ask her like, what's something special in here to me that I can put on the screen. Okay?
Okay.
And that's my cousin, y'all. Jaya is my cousin. She's in Greenville, South Carolina. All right. Let me see. LeBron. We haven't heard from LeBron in a while. LeBron, is there anything you want to put on the screen?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. Good to see you, LeBron. What grade are you in now?
8th.
Okay. Well, what do you have that you want to share with us on the screen?
So it's something like from 5th grade, from like 3 years ago. It's something like this, a fantasy football trophy.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Fantasy football trophy. Are you good in that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for sharing that.
Awesome. Did everybody get a turn to go? Let's see.
You know what? MJ hasn't gone. So
Okay,
LeBron
MJ.
did. Okay. Fantasy. MJ, you have something you want to share? Something special?
I would if I could, but currently I'm not home right now. I'm actually, I'm in a mix of kind of doing something while in the meeting, so I apologize.
Okay. If you were home, what would you share?
I
Something
wouldn't know
special.
where to start. Um, something special. Probably a picture of my whole family and my
Okay.
great grandma when she was alive.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, photo of your family and great Chima. Love it. Okay.
I
You
believe
know what?
everybody.
I think I'm gonna grab something too real quick. I see something right here that is special to me.
Hey, Keelan, when Dr. Tony is finding that, I'll show something real quick.
Okay.
You can get to see is my little Juneteenth mug that I use for my tea and coffee every day.
That's nice.
That is nice.
Okay, John has a Juneteenth mug. I might borrow that. All right, so for myself, so this is a mug glass that someone made and gave me. So when my father passed away, he was in racing. He was a part of NASCAR. The team was 34, Wendell Scott's team. So that's what a WS stands for. And if you follow racing, you may have heard of Bubba Wallace. He's like the current probably top Winston Cup black driver at the Winston Cup level. But prior to that, there wasn't anybody in the Winston Cup series. So the team that my dad was a part of, his name was Raymond Arnold Jr. He went by Ray. Some people called him Rags because he always had rags in his pockets when he was like working on cars. But someone gave me this, so it's something special to me. This mug, commemorative mug.
Awesome. I think I have something to show too, even though I'm not home, but
Okay.
let's. I have two things, but I forgot to get the other one. The first one was like a charm that I got in Florence when I studied abroad in Italy. And we climbed the Duomo, which was really cool. But my other thing, let's see if I can put it in the camera. Oh, it's my Meredith ring. One of the huge like things
Yeah.
that like Meredith students wear on their junior year is the ring. So I thought that was it's kind of bittersweet since I'm a senior and I'm about to leave. So
That is awesome. Awesome. All right. Jaya. I don't see Jaya. Is she still on? Okay. So I don't see Jaya, but um, when Jaya comes back on, if she wants to share something, she can. And I got a text from a parent, so JD might be on shortly. So let me yeah, so Jaya's getting back on now. So let's give her a moment to get back on. All right, Jaya. Um, do you have something you want to share? And if not, we can let you do it at another time.
I haven't found anything.
Do you have like some clothes that you like to wear? Like, your favorite shirt?
I'm not at my house, by the way. I'm at my grandma's house. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were home, what's something that you would want to put on the screen if you were home?
I mean, what do I have at home?
Do you have a favorite jacket, a pair of shoes, or
Oh, well, I have a jacket that I had got when I went to Miami for spring break.
okay. That's nice then. We can go with that. Favorite jacket for spring break. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Anything else, Kaylin?
no ma'am, that's all for the icebreaker. But Taylor, I can also work on the Excel spreadsheet too if you need any help. I kind of like working with stuff like that too.
Okay, yeah. I'll message you, yeah, with the link.
Okay. Awesome. But thank y'all for participating.
Wonderful. Everybody, let's show Kaylin some support. Tell her thank you in the chat. And if you want to use the reactions and clap your hands for her, feel free to do so. She is one of our future technologists, mathematician, data scientist, all of the above. Wonderful. So I don't even have to go over this now because Kaylin did such a good job explaining it. Also, Taylor kicked it off for us last week or this week on Wednesday. She kind of introduced that to us. And I created a slide deck from that and also added some videos over here. So in your spare time, you can go watch some of these videos on the things that we covered today and on Wednesday. And if we get some time later today, we'll show some during the break. And some of the information that we collected doing Taylor's review was qualitative information. Sage and Afua had similar hair color. And then on the quantitative side, they had both birthdays in May, and they were also 5 feet. And then this is what Tim's team collected. We had multiple commonalities on their qualitative side. So their assignment was to, as a team, decide what qualitative data you had in common and what quantitative data you had in common. So it's really important to kind of start recognizing this in the world around you so that you can make these assessments and know what kind of data you're working with. All right. And we also talked about data careers. These are what those roles were: data scientist, data analyst, data engineer, data wrangler. And I'm gonna let Mr. John talk to those real quick as I send something to one of the parents.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so this is just as you go throughout data science and get involved. And you'll hear different terms and terminology. So this slide over here is just a quick briefer of what some of those job roles are and what they do, the distinction between the two. Quickly, so a data scientist, so their job is basically to collect, organize, and to organize the data. And it could be from multiple sources, could be from spreadsheets, could be from internet databases. Their job is to take all of the data and start doing analysis on that data. A data analyst does a similar job, but they use particular tools and technologies, and they use that to help others make decisions. So they may be looking at the input from a data scientist and then correlating that to say, hey, here's what the data means to you from a business perspective. So they're helping executive, management, and other people who are not data scientists and heavily into data to make decisions based upon the data that's been generated. Now, data engineer works with both of those two roles. So they're basically building the tools and technology to help them do their job. So just like the tools that the data analyst would use, a data engineer will actually create that. It could be as simple as an SQL database. It could be an online website where the data is stored in the cloud for the data scientists and analysts to retrieve. So the data engineer is basically building the foundation of the infrastructure so those other two roles can do that job. Now, data wrangler has a very special role because not all the data that we get or we receive from different places is data that we can use right offhand. There may be empty spaces in the data. There could be zeros where we don't want to use. There could be missing data, or there could be typos in the data. So a data wrangler job is to take the data set that they're given and has been analyzed by the scientists and the analysts and basically clean that data and put it into a form that could be used to make decisions. So they have a very important role because if you go and find different data sets, there's typically going to be errors or things missing that data that needs to be corrected before you can actually make decisions based upon that data. So all four of these roles, they play an important role in data science. And data science is an up and coming field. So for those who are either right now in high school or lower or in college, this is something that you might want to look into because this is going to be the wave of the future. Even people who traditionally haven't been in that will need to know how to do some of this information that the data science roles currently are doing. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Any questions from anyone on the call? I know we're covering this. It might be kind of quick, but you'll get a copy of it. There's videos that you can watch. Like if you're moving about with your family, you can always go to this. We'll have a playlist for trends, and the videos that you can watch, to like continue to let this soak in and sink in further. And also, Kaylin and Taylor, there may be a few other people dropping in, so just keep an eye on the chat as new people drop in. Make sure they get the link for the survey and ask them what device they're using. Okay. All right, so next we're gonna go into, we're gonna talk about the activity for discovery. So the way we have our sessions planned out, on each Saturday that we're meeting, and then there may be one Friday that we're going to have our kind of extended time. We want to have some time where you can actually be hands-on, like on your computer, you're actually able to access and demonstrate what we are showing on the screen. And if you're not in front of your computer and you're just listening in right now, just follow along and you can go back and do this when you are in front of your computer. All right, so just a few key terms for today's lesson. Data set. A data set is a structured collection of data associated with a unique work of body, a body of work. The data set is an organized collection of data that is stored in form of multiple data sets. So data set is a word you probably are hearing us say. Mr. John just mentioned it. A data set is a set of data that's already pulled together and collected. So you may not know of a data set right off, but there are some data sets that are operating things in your house. The YouTube that I was using earlier today to pull together some information. There's a data set that lets YouTube know who's using it, how long the videos are. There's data sets all around us. Excel. Excel is an electronic spreadsheet program that is used for storing, organizing, and manipulating data. Now, you may have Google Sheets. You can do the same thing with Google Sheets. The Google Sheets is free. So either one of those is what we'll use today. Python. Python is a computer programming language often used to build websites and software, to automate tasks, and conduct data analysis. We did a little bit more discussion on that on Wednesday and kind of talked a little bit more about why it's used so widely. It's a very fast growing language. If you are in the workplace in the future, really in the near future, you'll probably be a good idea to learn Python. I'm also a part of the advisory board for my alma mater, the other state, North Carolina State University, on the mechanical and aerospace engineering department. And we had told the faculty students need to learn Python in college, so when they come into the workplace, they already know it. I'm also on the advisory board for North Carolina A&T State University's mechanical engineering department, and I've said the same thing there. So as an advisory board member, I'm letting the faculty members know what students should be prepared for before they graduate, or what can help them have a better transition into the workforce. So Python is something that you're getting a head start on, you're learning it early. There may be some other languages by the time you are graduating and getting ready to go to college or high school, but this is a good place to start. It's been around since like the early 90s. So what are we going to discover? How are we going to do it? Mr. John is going to walk you through finding a data set, and he already has an example he's going to share. Importing the CSV into Excel and Python. Search for specific data in Excel and in Python. And then we want to ask the question, how can we search for data more efficiently? So we'll discuss that. And then we want you to be curious on what data sets will be interesting to you, like what topics are interesting to you. I am really intrigued about the planets, the outer space. I like to, and several of us on the call, we are constantly paying attention to the next eclipse, what's happening in the sky, using telescopes and astronomical binoculars. So I'm interested in data sets around that. Like, when is the next eclipse going to be? April 2024, I'm already planning to try to be in Detroit so I can see the next big eclipse. And if I miss that one, it's going to be a while before I can see it from the US. So I'm interested in data sets for outer space. Those interest me. And also medical data sets. I'm very interested in those because that helps me learn more about my health and how I can be better prepared to be proactive in taking care of myself. So you need to be thinking about what data sets are interesting to you, but think about what topics are interesting to you, what purposes are interesting to you, and what data can help you in achieving those purposes. Okay. I think it's time for a quick little break. Maybe we don't need 10 minutes. We'll just take 5. And when you come back, be ready to dive into exploring a data set, paying attention. If you need to go grab a little bite to eat real quick, if you need to get you a little glass of water, a ginger ale, come back. And when you get back, we'll all be on the screen and be ready to pay attention. I'll play a little song, and when you hear that song ending, it'll be time for us to get started. Like I said, let's just take 5 to 6 minutes. When you hear the song end, then it'll be time to come on back over. And we'll get started. Is everyone back yet, or do we need a little bit more time? All right, sounds like we might need a little bit more time, so we'll do one more song.
Yes. I do it because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan. Because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan. This is a rhyme for education. I'm advocating it for every generation. It's what we need for elevation and navigation to our next destination. We have no fear of math calculation, chemical formulation, or scientific notation. Banneker, Walker, and Carver use their imagination and brain stimulation to birth a new creation. Therefore, I know through STEM education, I will excel with a strong foundation and change the world with a new revelation to lead us on to the next destination. I do it because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and upon the master's plan. Because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and upon the master's plan.
2 + 2 is 4. Oh, you didn't know. This be junior year, yeah, we rocking out the dough. Go on, get the grades, go on, make the A's. Then I was test, yeah, we knocking out the days. Engineers, that's who we be. We poppin' on the scene, whole region too deep. Go on, catch this wave, go on, make a move. You missing out if you don't fall through, yeah. Go on, get with it, yeah. Go on, get jiggy, yeah. Sign up now for only $5.50, yeah. Cause we stemmed out. Cause we stemmed out. Cause we stemmed out. Cause we stemmed.
Because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan. Because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan.
Okay, knowledge yourself, that's true wealth. Take care of your fam, that's true health. Hit the books and get to this paper. Know your plan. Gotta know your major. Self-help books for kids to be reading. Mentoring and tutoring for kids that we lead in. Start early, you'll learn something every day. Your future's bright.
I do it because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan. Because I love it, because I know I can. Stems in my heart, and are the master's plan.
shine so bright. You could use candelas with a flow so tight. Make the whole world jealous, whole team took flight. Now we all interstellar with a force like steam. Make your whole life better. You can follow any dream in any nightmare. Turn crops into cream, build a crystal clear stand. It's a real tight thing. Engineers aren't rare, but we gotta be aware of the wealth in the brains. The limelight might come right, but then again it probably won't last light. Then what you gonna do when the fun's tight? Since you brought a dull knife to a gut fight, you ain't gotta listen to me. Education made me money. I made hard days sunny with a 4-year degree. Had a full ride me free. Look, I don't chase money, man, money chase me. Me.
All right, are we ready? Believe we are. Okay. All right, I think we're all back and we're ready to get started. So let me get us back on track with where we were on deck and get going. Actually, at this time, John, I don't know if you have something you want to share on the screen, but we can go ahead and turn it over to you, and I can just bring up what we're going to focus on real quick, just as a quick reminder.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. I have a couple web pages I want to share. Yep. All right, so
Okay.
let's start from here. So the activity for discovery, we're going to touch on these topics. So we're going to show how to find a data set. So typically, you either be given a data set in data science to analyze, or if you don't have one, there's a couple resources online where you can actually find a data set to investigate. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me share my screen. Says, okay, I guess it says you need to stop sharing, Dr. Tony.
Sure, yep. Hold on, let me fix that real quick. Let me fix that for you.
All right, cool.
Okay, you should be able to share now.
Yep. All right. If I'm sharing my screen, you should see a blank Google dataset search website. Is that correct?
Yes, we see it.
All right. So this is a good resource, and I will put the link in the chat. If you don't have a data set that you interested in investigating, this is a good website to go and find different data sets of interest. So it's at datasetsearch.research.google.com. What happened to my chat window? I guess it went away since I'm sharing. Here we go. I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody. So this is a good way to find data sets that you may be interested in. And we're going to have you guys look on this website for data sets of interest after we go through the quick promo. So for our exercise, one of the examples, we're going to search for like NBA games as an example of data sets. So you can type in, just like any Google search, you can type in any term that you want. All right, and then what happens if you see on the screen is they have different data sets that come up based upon different data sets that have been generated with the term. Just like you do a Google search now, it'll look for those key terms and it'll come back for different data sets. So the data set that we're going to use as an example, and you're going to feel free to choose another data set of interest to you later on, but I just want to show you a quick example of how to use this website. So I just typed in NBA games. It came with all these different 100+ data sets that I could look at. So I'm going to choose the one that has NBA box scores since 1949, just as an example. So if you click on the left-hand side, it opens up on the right-hand side. And then what you could do, you can actually go to the source website where that data set is stored. So if I click that, wait for that to come up. All right, then let's just give you a brief description of the data set, talks about the content, who created the data set, so forth and so on. Okay. And then what you can do is if you wanted to download a data set, you can do it here. You can click on download. All right. Let's just choose, I think this is the one that I want to use. So this is some NBA games data. That's the one I want. So this is a data set that contains all the NBA statistics from all the NBA games from 2004 to December 2020. And so you can see the description of it. It tells you there's 5 data sets contained within this website. They got a list of all the games. They got more specific details of the games, players' names, the ranking of the teams, and actually the team names. And we're going to look at some of that. And so what typically happens when you create a data set, you save the file in what's called a CSV. It was mentioned on that previous slide, but let me explain what that means. CSV is a way to store tabular data, but it's in a comma separated value or format. So that's what the CSV stands for. So all the details are separated by a comma, and I'll show you what that looks like when I open it up. So it depends on if you have a laptop or a Chromebook. You can download the file, the whole file, or you can just download a specific file that you're interested in. So if you look over here at the Data Explorer, you will see the 5 tables that were contained in this data set. That's that games table, the details of the games, the players, the rankings, and the teams. So I'm going to choose to download the games and the teams for this example. So all you have to do, you can either click and download it here, or you can download the whole file there. Okay, so I have that download already. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to be using Microsoft Excel. As Dr. Tony mentioned earlier, if you have a Chromebook, or if you, as your preference, if you want to use Google Sheets, you can do similar imports and analysis using Excel. So the first thing I want to do, I downloaded those CSV files. I'm going to now open those files. So you just click on open. I'm going to navigate to where the file is stored. I just have it locally stored on my computer here. So I'm going to open it. And this is just a thing where Excel wants to get rid of the trailing zero. So what I'm going to do is just going to do some small formatting here. I like to center my data so it's easy to read. So I'm just going to stretch some of this out. And I'm just going to explain what we're seeing real quick before I get into the nuts and bolts of it. So here's that that CSV file, comma separated value file. When you import it into Excel or Google Sheet, it formats it neatly for you into rows and columns. So in this first column, we got the date that the game occurred. The NBA gives each game a unique ID, so that may be of interest if you're looking for that. The game status, in this case, is final because it happened back in 22. And there's a home team ID, and I'll show you how we're going to use that. So this is the home team. There's a specific ID for the home team and a specific ID for the visiting team. And it's likewise the home team ID. So in this case, it gives you how many points the home team scored, okay? And there's another column that tells you how many points the away team scored. So in this case, the game was 126 to 117, for example, okay? And there's some other fields here. I won't go into it, but you can interrogate any of these other fields once you have this data set available. So that is the simple way of importing a CSV file into MS Excel. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. If not, so I've just imported the game CSV, which is all the games data that I'm interested in looking at. I want to now go and import the team's CSV file. The reason why I want to do that, because if you look at this team ID and visitor team ID, that may not make sense to anyone who's not working for the NBA. So I want to say, who is this team that's noted as this number right here versus that number? I can't tell just by this data set. So I'm going to now open up the team's data set. And that's going to make it a little bit more easier to see. All right. So now I have the team's data set. And once again, I'm just going to quickly center the data, just my personal preference. You can manage it how you want to. Just stretch the data out so you can see what's what. And a quick way to do it is to go here where you see this dividing line and double click. and it automatically expands it for you. So you don't have to stretch out each one. You can just quickly do that. And it makes it easier to read the data. So as a human, this is a lot easier to read than all that stuff squished together. So remember I talked about the roles like a data wrangler. And so as you can see here, there's areas in this data set where they're empty. There's absolutely no data, or there's even a zero, right? So are you telling me that arena named as Amway Center has no capacity? I mean, nobody can sit in there? Or the Barclays Center has no capacity? So that's just missing data. So that will be one of the jobs for a data wrangler, to try to either clean that data or put some placeholders in there so we can use it, or just remove the data altogether. So that would be a decision that a data wrangler will have to make. What do I do about this missing data here? Do I go and find the data somewhere from a reputable source and populate it? So now I have a complete data set? Do I just ignore the data, or do I just remove it? So those will be the three options: fill the data with something, set it to a default value, or just ignore it altogether. All right, so now we have the team's data set. So if we go back to my other one, so now let's just look. So I have a home team ID of 16106. They all start with 16106, so we can probably ignore that. And just look at the last 5 digits. So 12740. So that's the home team. So let's go back to this screen and let's see who is the last 5 digits has 12740. Can anyone tell me who that team might be? The last 5 digits of the team ID is 12740. You can come off mute and tell me if you can find it. Last 5 digits are 12740. Does anyone have an answer?
Is it the
Okay.
Pelicans?
It is the Pelicans, absolutely. So I can't see who said that, but yeah, correct. It is the Pelicans. So here's the row that associates the team ID, right? That's just number the NBA assigns a team. The average person wouldn't know what that means, but they gave us a data set so we can analyze what that team is. So team is 12740. Okay, that team is the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, and it shows where they play, and you can see we have some missing data, but that's not a concern right now. So we know the home team was New Orleans Pelicans. So, all right, the visiting team was 12759. 12759. All right, so who was the visiting team that played against the Pelicans? 12759. You can come off mute and tell me once you find it. 12759. Who was the visiting team?
Where my sports fans at?
12759. Last 5 digits of the team ID.
Y'all can look at the sheet and see.
The Spurs.
Absolutely. All right. So now we know. Now there's advanced features where I don't have to bounce between these, but for illustration, this is how you will find the data initially, right? So we know that first game was between the New Orleans Pelicans with team number 12740, and it was against the Spurs, as someone just said. Okay, good. All right, so here's our first game. So we got the New Orleans Pelicans, 12740 against the San Antonio Spurs. We know the game. New Orleans won the game for a score of 126-117. So that's top level, just looking at it using Excel analysis. Okay, so that's how you will take a data set that you have from somewhere, either locally or from website. You would then take that CSV file, separated value file, and then you will then import that into a tool of choice, either Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or some other tool. And you can then start doing some top level data analysis of that. All right, so that's how we use Excel. Are there any questions so far about finding the data set, importing the data set, and just doing some quick high level analysis of the data set in Excel? Are there any questions about anything else that I did that you didn't understand?
I'm pretty sure there's some questions. 'Cause I have some.
Everybody's so quiet.
I have some. So people, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's other people who have the same questions. That's one thing as an engineer or scientist. If you don't understand something, don't act like you do. Say you don't. Say I'm lost. I don't know where to start. I can't find this on my computer. So is there
Hey, John.
anybody did I hear a question? Somebody had a question?
Hey, John. I don't know if you was gonna go over it or not, but if you haven't, could you explain the difference with primary keys and foreign keys? Because I know when it comes to the team ID, it might have been confusing for them to differentiate between the home team ID versus the visitor team ID.
Yeah, that was kind of advanced subject I wasn't going to go into, but yes, there is, so what Tim was talking about, right? There's a primary key, right? That I can use here, and I can take, instead of bouncing back and forth, I can take this information here that's on the screen, and I can then associate it with this same number in another data set, which is, for example, that other spreadsheet that I opened. So instead of bouncing between the two spreadsheets, I can say, find this key right here, 12740, find it in the other data set that I have open, and tell me who that is associated with. So just like we did it manually, we went and opened it up and visually looked at it. I can, instead of bouncing between the two, I can use this number right here because they're the same in both data sets, and I can find the data easily. So that is a advanced way of doing analysis. I didn't want to get that because it's a little bit more advanced than I believe the audience is. But yeah, there is a method to do that. You're correct, Timothy. Yep. Is there something else you want to explain about that functionality that you thought it was interesting, Tim?
No, that was it. I wanted to keep it simple because I know it's just the first workshop.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too deep there, but yeah, they when you get a little bit more advanced in either Excel or Python, you can use the foreign and primary key to help you find data. And when we get over SQL, there's a similar function where you can join tables together to find associated data that has the same ID or characteristics. So I just didn't want to go there. But yeah, that's a good point. As you get into more of this, your job could be easier. Instead of going back and forth between tables, you could actually pull that data into this table if you wanted to. So you know that when I look at 12740, that's the Pelican. And when I look at 12759, that's the Spurs, for example, without having to bounce around between my data set. It just makes your life easier by doing the primary and foreign keys. And what they mean by primary and foreign key, primary is the key that's in the data set that I'm looking at. That's my primary key. The foreign key is that same information, but it's in a foreign database. It's in a different data set. That's why they call it the foreign key. Because I'm then using the information here, go looking at foreign database or other database, find that key, and tell me the information that's associated with that ID. Does that make sense to everyone? Why that would be a benefit? Yes, no, maybe. Everybody's so quiet today.
Yes, once they start using it. Like,
Yeah.
Information. Now, once they start like doing something with it.
Yeah, I want to back up just a little bit, John. Like, I want to, first of all, say how many people are in front of their computers right now. So I don't know how, or just put in the chat, are you familiar with Excel or Google Sheet? If you have used it, say yes, I've used it. If you haven't, say no, I have not used it. So Excel or Google Sheets, I'll put a question in the chat. Let's just this is data I'm collecting right now. Like, have you used Excel or Google Sheets? Okay. Gotcha. All right. So looks like quite a few people have used it. If you have not used it, that's okay. Just say, I have not used Excel or Google Sheets. I have not used either. So just put that in the chat. That way we kind of understand where everybody is. Okay. All right. So John, is there a way to maybe see if we can let someone come on the screen and walk through, and we kind of talk them through what you just did. They go out and search a data set of interest, or you find one that they can import and then let them navigate. Does anyone want to volunteer and do that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea. So what I suggest you go to that website that I put in the chat, that Google dataset website. and let's just find one of interest to somebody, and let's go through the steps. That's a good idea.
All right, I'm gonna put it back down there again. And I'm gonna put the data search link here. So everyone click that, and if you're not at a computer and you're just observing, just watch. So when you get in front of a computer, you can go back and do it. So everyone go to that data search link that I put in the chat. And what topics? I know there's people that are interested in sports. Maybe there's a certain team. Maybe it's your high school. Maybe it's your favorite high school or your middle school. So someone kind of share what you're interested in. LeBron, what are you interested in? Is there something that you like to search? I know last summer you were all in the anime. Are you still in the anime? Is it something else?
No, there's nothing really.
Do you like sports?
Yeah.
Okay. Fantasy football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why don't you go to that link that I put in the chat and type fantasy football in your search. It might be kind of broad, so let's see. I'm gonna do it too.
Yeah, just like any Google search, depending on the term, right, your results is going to vary. So if you just put in fantasy football, we can do that and see what comes back.
Okay.
But the reason why I like this website, because most people are already familiar with using Google search for other purposes. So this is a similar vein, but now we're just looking for data sets.
Okay. Now, LeBron, I see some stuff. Do you see some things under fantasy football?
Feel free to share your screen, LeBron, if you're okay with that, if you can.
And while LeBron's doing that, I want others to type a subject in your name beside it. Like, what's that subject that you're interested in searching for? Like, what data set will be interesting you? What subjects? Like, find out, start with a subject, and we might have to narrow it down. Sports is pretty broad, so you might have to narrow it down to a specific one. If it's cooking, maybe there's certain types of food that you want to narrow it down to, or nutrition. All right. Okay. Let's get a few more in the chat. Afua, is there a specific subject that you like or topic you want to research? It doesn't have to be a school subject. It could be a topic that you just like.
No, I can't think of any right now.
Now, didn't you say you like to draw?
Yeah, but like I can
Okay.
think of like a subject to search up.
Okay. Well, just put that in there. See what happens if you just put drawing. And it may be too broad, and then it'll help you narrow it down. So just search that one. Okay. Something you're interested in. Jaya, what are you interested in? What do you like to do?
Uh, I like to draw sometimes or like go outside.
So you like doing activities like recreation outside?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Jaya, are you in front of a computer or are you still just listening in?
I'm on my phone.
On your phone?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Well, you can try to search that link on your phone. Are you able to see the chat on the Zoom on your phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So go to that link and search outside recreation. All right. Let me see. Jaden. Hey, Jaden, how are you?
Good.
Now, Jaden, I hear you play soccer. Maybe you have other stuff you like doing. What's a data set that you want to search? What's a topic that you liked?
Maybe basketball.
Basketball. Okay, so Jaden, we're going to put down basketball for Jaden. And it looks like Nana has got the highest earning soccer players. That's a good one right there, Nana. All right, Sage, you up next. What's your favorite topic? What do you want to research? What's something you're interested in? Cats. Okay. So Sage is going to be looking up different types of cats, maybe different species of cats. Okay. And Jonathan, what's of interest to you?
Something that I'm interested in would be like stuff related to like veterinarian stuff, so like animals, dealing with animals, and then
Animal science, okay.
and then I guess like something related to like sports management.
Sports management, okay. I'm gonna put you down for sports management. Is there any specific type of sport or league?
I don't think really anything. Probably either basketball or football.
Okay, you said basketball.
Yeah, or football for the sports management.
Okay, so that's what you're gonna search. All right, so everybody take just a couple of minutes and search that. Then we're gonna call on you to bring it on your screen. And LeBron, do you have yours up yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right, so go ahead to this website. Are you able to get the website to come up? And I'll put it back down here because a lot has been typed in there. Are you able to see that website in the chat?
Yeah.
All right, click that website. And are you able to share your screen?
Kind of, not really.
All right. So at the bottom of the Zoom, do you see a little green square with an arrow? It says share screen. You see that?
Yeah.
Just click that.
Alright.
And then we'll be able to see your screen. And what are you using? You're using a PC, right? A laptop?
Yeah.
Windows based. Okay. Did you click it? Not seeing you. There you go. That's it. Okay. So there you go. Fantasy sports platforms. Okay. And these are the different data sets and Statistica. All right, over there on the left, those are the different data sets. How about that one at the bottom? Number of fantasy sports players in the US. Okay. So John, are we in the right territory here? It's a data set that he needs to try to download.
Yeah, there should be there should be a form at the top where they can download the data, and different sources are provided in different formats. So let's see what formats they have there. So in this case, they have it in the Excel format, which is the XLS format.
Okay.
That would be the one that you want to download so you can look at it. If you just want to read it, you can do PDF. PNG is a picture, and PowerPoint is PPT. So if we were using this data set, for example, you would click the download for the XLS.
Oh.
Okay, looks like you have to have a Statistica account for that one.
Yeah, so a good one would be Kaggle, because that's a lot of free sources where people uploaded a raw data set. So if you go back to your homepage there and look for that same search, where just go back, I don't know.
Yeah, go back to that link. Let's try to see
And
this.
then see if there's one from Kaggle or something. Statistica.
I might have to look it back up again.
Yes.
Yeah, you might have to look it up again. Yeah. I
And
mean,
then we
there's
might
other,
just have to go to a Kaggle site.
yeah, there's different sources there. So it all depends on what you search for.
So there
So
you
there's
go.
one from Kaggle. Yeah, Kaggle is a good one because it's all open source, it's free. All right. So in this case, like we saw before, it gives a description of the data set. So if you
I
scroll
see the
down,
download over on the right.
yeah, and then it'll give you the formats you can download down below, different formats. So if you scroll down, you see over there where date go, scroll up just a little bit from right there, Data Explorer. So you see the names of the file where it says Data Explorer off to the right. Those will be the CSV file that you can download. And the description of the files should have been up above what that means. What does ADP merge mean? It should have a description up above of what it means, so you know which file to download. So if you want, you could choose to download one of those files.
I was gonna say if Tim or one of the volunteers can find this same set on your side, just so we might have to help him offline to kind of go through it. So if somebody could find that same data set he's in on Kaggle, and then go ahead and try to download it and see if you can import it and get a step ahead of him. So
Yeah,
let's
and for
try
those
that.
who don't know, Kaggle is both the open source website where people load data sets. They also hold competitions where people from the data science field, they can compete about analysis of data, who can write the cleanest code, who can create the best visualization based upon that code. So Kaggle is a really good website. You'll hear more and more that about as you get involved with data science. So it's a great website.
Okay. So I think what would help, John, if we kind of like, it may be time to break out a little bit. We see where LeBron is up to this point, and then maybe there are a few others who want to do sports. So perhaps maybe we have Tim and John go to whoever wants to do sports. Looks like Tim has got this one started. So let's let a few other people get started on their searches, and then we can break out and let our support team kind of help them get it from this point into the spreadsheet. Okay.
Right. Yep, sounds good. So other topic, I know sports is one. What are some of the other topics?
We had drawing, Sage. No, Sage was cats. I think it was Jaya and Afua were interested in drawing.
Maybe we have a breakout room for those two.
Yeah, let's see what we see on drawing. I'm gonna search that one on my
And
side.
I know Jonathan and Sage, Jonathan veterinarian, Sage said cats, so maybe they have a breakout room for them.
Yeah. So drawing, I see drawing data sets. What's this one? Let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Technical drawing, sketch data set. So generative line drawing, the quick draw data set. Drawing with style evaluation. So Jaya and Afua, did you find anything when you looked at drawing?
Yeah, I found a few things.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll tell you what, we'll create some breakout rooms real quick, and then you all can kind of go play around with this a little bit. So it sounds like we need one for drawing. Hold on, let me make it so that you all can get to there on your own.
I'll stop screen sharing.
Yes, you can stop. All right, so we're gonna have a room for sports. And who all was sports? It was LeBron. She said was there somebody else with sports? Maybe not. Okay, we have a room for drawing. So data sets on drawing. And then we'll add one for animal interests. Did I miss anything? So that's qualitative right there. How many people had sports? Raise your hand real quick. Just a quick show of hands if sports was your topic. And you can use the,
Yeah, sports is one. Well, I did sports and veterinarian, so
so you did
whichever
too.
one.
All right, so all the rooms are open, okay? Gotcha. So yeah, we have few with sports. So all the rooms are open. So out of our volunteers, who wants to do the sports room? I would like for you just to go to that breakout room with them and kind of help them walk through getting the data set on their screen, downloading it, and importing it. You may not get to import it today, but you might just try to, you might be able to get far with some and have to demonstrate.
I can help with the sports room.
Okay, so Tim, John, Wednesday, and John Sampson, you want to do sports as well?
I can
Or you
do
have
the
another?
sports, yeah.
Okay, so y'all go over to room, let me see here. 1 is sports. All right, everybody interested in sports, you go to room 1. All right.
Do
Those
we have enough volunteers on the call for the other rooms?
I think so. So I'm gonna see if Taylor and let me see, is Kayla still on? Yep. Let me see. Why don't Taylor, why don't you go do the one on the animal interest? I think that might have been Sage. Was there anybody else interested in animals, or was it just Sage?
I think it may have also been John.
Okay, that's right. He had 2. That's right. He was a little bit of both. All right. And then Kaylin, are you okay doing one on your own on drawing?
Yes, ma'am. But if I have any questions, I'll let you know.
Okay, well, don't let me know. I'm not gonna be able to answer. Let Tim.
Okay.
Let Tim, Taylor, or John know. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is what we'll do. If you're interested in the animals, go with Taylor to room. Which one did I say this? Can y'all see the breakout rooms? Room number 3 is animals. Room number 2 is drawing. Go with Taylor to 3 for animals, and go with Kaylin to room 2 for drawing. Everybody go over there, and we'll take about 20 minutes, maybe a little bit after that. I'll swing through and see how you're doing, and then we'll wrap up. So we want you to try to get your data set identified, download it, and import it into Excel or Google Sheet. All right, let's go ahead and do that now. And Jaya, let me see if I can get you over to the drawing room, okay?
That's the right data that you actually want to download. Because you may not even want to use this data set. So you want to read it. It's the data set of
All right, you
football
said
players.
what part?
Right there. So it's in where the description is. It's giving a description of what the data set is in the middle of where it says about the data set. You always want to read that because it gives you information. Is this the right data set that I even want to look at? Maybe you typed in something and this is not the right data set. And once you start reading the description, so you always want to read that. And then also, if you scroll down there or in the middle, click view more, it gives you a description of some of the columns. So when you're looking at the raw data, you can tell what some of these terms mean. Like POS is position, comp is the league that occupies, MP is the matches played. So when you're looking at it, you know what the terms mean. So it's always a good idea to read through this description. One, to make sure it's the right data set. Two, so you know what the columns mean when you look at the columns, like goals per shot, stuff like that. Does
And
that
John,
make
I
sense
just
for everyone?
I
Yeah,
just
go
popped
ahead.
over. If this group gets too big, you can come. Some of y'all can come back to the main. Like if you want to have Jaden and LeBron, if somebody want to come back over to the main room with them, if this group gets too big, because they're in middle school, you can definitely come back over to the main room. No one's in there.
Jonathan, why don't you hop back over to the main room? Okay, so Nana, if seems like a reasonable data set that you might want to look at, you can download it. If you download it where you can find it.
Do I need to register?
Yeah, if you have a Google account, you can just register with your Google account. Just do sign up with yeah. That way you don't have to create a new user ID and all that stuff.
I was just popping over to learn about drawing and data sets.
Yes, ma'am. Afua said that she had hers together, or I'm not sure like if she chose her data set, but she said that she had hers, and then Jaya, I'm helping her find hers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then when we come back together in probably about 20 minutes, we'll come back, pop back over at like 1:15. I'll check in on you at like 10 after. Just be ready to do a little report out on what you did and what you learned, like be able to show it on the screen. Either they can do it together or one person can just show what they did.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we are just kind of coming back together from our breakout time, and I want to hear what you all learned, and we'll all just take a few minutes to talk about how our sessions went. This is what the breakout rooms were. The sports room, we'll do a report out from each of the rooms. Let's start with the animal interest room and have Taylor and Sage kind of share what they discussed. And if you got something you want to share on the screen, just tell us how far you got, if you had any challenges, and what did you discover?
The sheet had like the personalities of the cats and the genders and how
Let me
how
see.
many there were.
Taylor, yep, she's bringing it up.
Yeah, so like Sage was saying, this data set basically just is a research study that someone did, where they asked cat owners about the personality of their cats across different traits. Um, and so gave a score on a scale of 1 to 7, and that's the data set that we were looking at. And Sage, if you wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the personality traits that we talked about for a little bit as far as male versus female cats. This first one is shyness.
So the shyness, female cats seem to be more shy than the male cats.
Mm-hmm.
And the clumsy ones, I think the males are a little bit more clumsier than the females, but not much. Mm-hmm. Jealousy, the female cats are a little bit more jealous than the males. And not by much though.
Yep. So these were just an introduction to kind of the things we could find and looking through the data. So that's what we got through in our group.
Oh, that's really good. Anybody have any questions for Sage on her cat study there?
I had a question. I wanted to see, when you guys downloaded the data set, did it already come as a pivot table? Or did you guys
Create that?
make it? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so when we first downloaded it, it was basically like what John went through the first time, when he was showing us how to import data. And there's on Excel, you can make any type of data into like an actual data table, like I just showed. And then from there, you can get the pivot table. So there are a few steps. It's not hard, but it does take a few steps to get it to the pivot table.
Okay, thank you.
And Taylor, that's
Yeah.
a good point. That might be something that, for Monday night, that we start out with maybe walking back through that and you sharing the steps of how you pull the data set, how you got it into Excel, and then what are pivot tables? Like, they're the best thing to slice bread, in my opinion. If you use Excel, it really accelerates how quickly you can see what the data is saying or doing for a data set. So those are very useful to use in understanding data. So that, I think that's something that we should plan to go over on Monday night, and then maybe even continue to teach on that, because it's a very good tool set to have.
Yeah, and it's really easy to use once you know it. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. And what was the name of the data set? If you don't mind, put the name of the data set in the chat that you all used.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the animal interest. Cats was the topic. Let's go to the drawing team. And the drawing team, that was Kaylin, Jaya, and Afua. And Cher, I think you were in there too.
Afua or Jaya. Did either of you guys want to go first?
Well, you can just talk about what you studied and what you learned.
I can go first. So, should I share my screen or should I just like,
You can share your screen. If you got something to share, share it.
okay, so, basically this shows like the, hold on. It shows like it's like about like civic arts and it shows like the year it was created, the art, like the artist of the paintings or drawings, and then like where it's displayed, like what museum it's in. So yeah.
All right, Afua, this is really good. Now what did you learn? What did you discover? Anything? Are you still figuring it out?
Still trying to like figure it out, I guess.
Okay. Now where you having problems? Like and others on the phone, volunteers, data analytics scientists, go ahead and chime in as need be. Are you having trouble in any area? Maybe it looks like you might want to structure it a little better.
Yeah, I'm having like trouble like organizing it a lot. Like I don't know.
Okay. Anybody got any advice and you're using Excel or
yeah, I'm using Excel.
okay.
I think I may have a suggestion. It looks like, just to make sure, like, you know, the name of the column, it looks like you already have the name, but it's like included into the data set. So it could, I don't know how you would fix that, if anybody has any advice, but I think that may help just so you can see which column represents what.
Yeah, thank you.
Afu, will you be here Monday night?
I think so.
Okay. So what we can do Monday night, I haven't talked to the instructors yet, but let's see if we can maybe grab a little time. Maybe Taylor, Kaylin can get together and kind of help drive a little bit of this part for you because if it's a little more advanced, they can probably just drive it to make it make more sense for you real quick, and then you can kind of get on over this hump and start using it to learn more.
Okay.
Well, good job. Glad you got this far. Okay. All right. And Jaya, you want to share what you learned or observed or however far you got? Any questions that you had? I don't see Jaya. Did Jaya drop off? Maybe we lost her. Let me see if I still see her in. Okay. Don't see her at the moment. Maybe she got dropped. Okay, if she gets back in, we'll have her talk a little bit about her discovery. Kaylin, what did Jaya how far did Jaya get?
She chose like the top 3 data sets that she was looking at.
Okay.
And I told her if she doesn't know exactly which one, she can think about it.
Okay.
But by the time the next session happens, just try to have that one so we
Figured
can
out.
start. So we can
Okay.
start looking at it.
Great. Wonderful. And Kaylin, if you don't mind, can you put in the chat the data set? I guess the data search that you used, was it Kaggle? Was it, the Google one? And the data sets that they used. And put that in the chat. And the topic was drawing.
Yes, ma'am. I don't have Jaya's.
Okay.
But Afua, if you could put yours in the chat, just letting us know which one it is. I know Jaya, hers is not on drawing. It's more on like sleeping and gaming, like finding that correlation.
Awesome.
But yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Sometimes when you start discovering, you discover there's something else you want to discover. Wonderful. All right. Sports team. Who wants to kind of lead the facilitation for the sports room? And,
Yeah,
and
I
maybe
can. Yeah, I
go
can
ahead.
do it. I'm pulling up my file right now.
Gotcha. And over here we had fantasy football. We had soccer. Tell us
And
what
and,
you would
and
think.
Dr. Tony, while Jonathan's pulling his file, we did find out some of the data sets that we found on the website, they weren't formatted properly. So for example, Nana found one on European League soccer, or they call it football, and the file was initially formatted properly in order for us to use. So I was able to get it formatted, but just naturally by download, it wasn't something we can use. So that's something to be cautious of as you use some of those data set. Make sure it's in the form you can actually work with it.
So it wasn't structured well.
It wasn't, no.
Okay. And that's a good point. So John, please drop that in the chat. Like, this is what we learned today. Make sure your data set is structured properly. It may require some cleaning. All right. And Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, he's loading the file. It's taking a little while.
Oh, it's taking a little while. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So yeah, as you navigate data science, or just any type of science, any type of technology or engineering, you run into roadblocks. You have to learn how to plan time for that. We don't really have a deadline for what we're doing. We're just exploring. But when you're planning out things, you have to make sure you have time for things to not go as planned. And then you need time to figure out how to get around them. You may have to ask somebody else to step in. So this is all good. Everything is not going to go right the first time. So I'm glad we are getting the chance to experience things as they actually happen at work and also in college. All right. So Jonathan has a data set. Let me see. Nana, you still need to get yours. Did you get yours cleaned up enough to share? Or you still need some time on yours?
Oh no, my Excel, I don't know. I might have to like update the version or something.
Okay. And John, for Nana's, could it not be put into Google Sheet or no?
No, it's the raw file that the person uploaded to that
Oh,
website. Yeah, so it's nothing Nana did. It was the
gotcha.
raw file.
Just the file
Yeah.
itself. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if everybody knows what raw data means, but just like raw data is basically just as it's collected without doing anything to it, right? Just unclean data, right? Is that right, John?
Yes, sorry, my Zoom with this. Yeah, that's correct. Raw data is what it says. It's just like a piece of raw meat, right? Without it being cooked or seasoned, anything, it is what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
some data sets are good to use as is. They don't require any cleaning. Some require a lot of cleaning, like the one we experienced.
Okay, gotcha. All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay, so with this data set, so mine was over sports injuries, and basically for this one I did the NBA. So this is a list of sports, statistic of sports injuries that was marked down from 1951 to the current day of 2023. And so during the start of it, they didn't have as many stats down for like when people got injured, or it wasn't written down. So as you see, like around the 50s to like the late 60s, there's not that much. But like when you get to like the 70s and especially like the 90s and the 2000s, there's more info marked for like people who had like minor injuries to major injuries to like out with sickness. So they marked basically every reason that the player was out. In comparison to like the 50s, where in a span of like 2 years, there's only two cases of injuries that are marked down. So an example of this would be for In 1959, Elgin Baylor, who played for the Lakers, he was out for a game because he refused to play because he was being denied a room in the team's hotel because of segregation at the time. And another one with Elgin Baylor in 1961 was when he was ineligible to play for a game because he had to report for military duty, and that happened on here 2 more times. And then if you go higher up, you can see Bernard King, for example, who was playing for the Jazz at the time. He was you can see where he was activated from the injured list. So it shows you when they were injured, and it shows you when they're brought back onto the team. And basically it shows the team they're on, the date it happened, the player, and then what their the injury status was or when they had came back. So that's what mine has.
All right. Okay, thank you, Jonathan, for sharing that. Very good information. Anything, key takeaways, anything that you learned that was surprising or interesting? You might be talking and on mute.
Something that I found interesting was all the information that they had
Okay.
on the players.
Just the amount of information, the volume of information.
Yeah, because when I first saw it, especially like in the I would say like the information comparison between like the 50s, for example. And then when I was scrolling all the way up there to the 2020s, when I got to the 90s, there was like I think, for example, how like the 50s is just number 1, number 20. The 90s was like from number, I think it was like 300 something to
Okay.
like 600. So it was way more data put in there.
Okay. All right. As we get ready to wrap up, let me see. Nana, do you want to talk about yours? Or we need to like let you get, just if you want to share a little bit about what you were interested in and what the name of the data set is, even if you're not ready to share it on the screen, that's fine.
I can talk about what I was gonna do.
Yes.
So I looked up basically the stats of all the Premier League players, which is English soccer, and they like showed all the goals they score, penalties, injuries, red cards, yellow cards, and each name of the player and things like that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Thank you, Nana. That's going to be interesting when you're ready to share that. Let us know. All right. Let's see. LeBron, how far were you able to get? You might be on mute, LeBron. There you go.
What, can you say it again?
How far were you able to get with fantasy football?
For me, I kind of like had to register my account, but then it's like I need a parent to sign me in, so that's why I couldn't like figure it out or something.
Okay. So when Andre gets in, he can probably help you with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll reach out to him when he gets in and kind of get him up to speed. So just tell him to give me a call.
Okay.
All right. LeBron, do you know what the name of your data set was?
Fantasy football data 2017 to 2023.
Okay. Can you put that in the chat?
Okay.
Okay. This put LeBron's data set and then what it is. All right. Jaden, how about you?
So for mine, I did NBA drafts from 1989 to 2021.
Okay. All right. Oh, look at you, Jaden. What did you find out?
Okay, so is it working?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, so it shows the year from the start from 1989 overall pick, the team that they got picked on, player, college, years active, games, minutes, points. So it's a little bit more than just what pick they got drafted, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, box score, value, win share, average. So yeah, really just everything with the ranks. ID, I don't know why that's there. It's just, I guess, like the number pick they are from that draft.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1 would be the first pick on 1989, and then it just goes down to just the people that were playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's really it.
Okay. Well, that's good, Jaden. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful. All right. Well, I think everybody has gone. Um, give yourselves a round of applause and just some shout outs and kudos to you all for doing such an excellent job. And also thank your instructors who were there to help you and also helping you understand and helping you work through any of the roadblocks that you had. So excellent session. And I even worked on a little bit myself. I went out and looked up I think it's like 5,000 years of solar and lunar eclipse. And I have the longitude and latitude dates, and can tell how big of an eclipse, how much of an eclipse they are, like how much coverage over the sun or moon is happening. So I had that information and got it in the Excel. It was pretty clean data, so I didn't have to do a lot to structure it from the data set that I got from NASA. And it was quite interesting. Learned a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of wrap up. We are over just a few minutes, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time so you can get on with your weekend. Let's just kind of talk through some of our next steps and what's going to happen next. I did go back and add a few terms. We'll send this out to you. Just this is terms I picked up that, hey, it would be helpful for those of you who maybe didn't make the last session to know some of the terms that were mentioned and discussed today, this afternoon. And what we're going to do next is, if you don't have these books, if you already have these, you won't get another set of them. But I know we have some new people on the call. So I'll be reaching out to your parents to get you copies of the books that we used from the data camp last summer. Just want to make an announcement about that. We'll probably have some new people joining us. There were probably maybe like 5 people who couldn't make it today. So they'll need to get up to speed. And hopefully by next Saturday, we'll have everybody on the call who would have at least gone through one session by then. And we can definitely plan in some makeup time. But just kind of in closing, let me get to this slide and hopefully it'll stay on for me. There we go. We went through it and everyone talked about what they learned or discovered. If there are any announcements that anyone on the call has about any upcoming STEM interesting activities or things to be on the lookout for over the next week, feel free to put those in the chat. If anyone is interested in a tech challenge, this is for ages 14 through 24, let me know. They do have like a free coding session tomorrow. I think they're going to be coding in Python as well. And there's a tech challenge on November the 12th, and there's some prizes, some monetary prizes. I've shared this with the college chapters in the area of NSBE. And if you or someone you know may be interested in that, I can send you the information. It's being hosted by STEM Media. And what we'll do is get you all set up into Google Chats over the next week. So by next week, you'll be in a Google Chat with your instructors. We'll have some instructors assigned to you. And we'll probably just keep the groups that we have unless we need to add another one. And kind of get you set up with communicating and being able to review the content in an easy format. So Google Chats is what we have used in the past. We'll also use email for parents so they'll be in touch with what's going on. Our next class is Monday, October the 30th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. For Jaden, that's going to be 6 o'clock for you because you are on Central Time. I'll be in the Central Time Zone next Saturday, but I probably won't make the session. The Saturday session will be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1:30. And we'll adjust the agenda a little bit as needed so that you all can continue to work on what you didn't get done today. And that's it. Thank you for coming. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions on anything we covered today? All right. Instructors, anything you want to add before we close out? And volunteers?
Nope. I just want to thank the students for their great participation, and we look forward to the next class.
Awesome. All right. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming. And we will see you on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 o'clock Central Time. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Oh,
Thank you.
Dr. Hatoni, I have a
Yes.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I need some help. Okay, so the computer that I have it's been giving me issues, and I wanted to see if you had like any advice because I only have one semester left, and my thing is I don't want to have to get a whole new computer. But the problems I've been having with it is that like every time I turn it on, it's like checking media presence. I don't really know what that means. And then
Okay.
also it's very slow. And I think like 2 weeks ago, like it wouldn't even turn on for like the
Okay.
longest time. So if you have like any advice on what I should do about that, I'm like all ears.
Okay. I tell you what, we will go ahead and dismiss and see if there's anybody else that has any quick little questions, and then we can probably stay on for a few minutes and see what we can see if there's any troubleshooting that we can do to help you out.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I'll play us out with a little music here before you go, and everybody can bounce their heads a little bit to this, and then we'll dismiss. Let me get my screen share going here. I'll play some exiting music for us today.
I was like, I do have to head out early, but it was a pleasure being able to come out today and help out any way that I could.
All right, thank you, Tim.
No problem. I'll catch y'all later, okay?
All right, take care.